Hi, I'm Gabriella Richardson, and I am a lover of learning. I am a cultivator of community, and I am a seeker of belonging. I am a messy and imperfect human, just trying to do my best to make this world a little bit of a better place. So I look forward to you joining me in that pursuit on the Nexus of Narratives.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
How are you?
Wonderful.
We've been sitting here for a while.
Amazing, wonderful, all of them, all above, and a normal person that deals with bullshit.
the duality of it, feeling great despite all of that.
Yep.
So, Jonny, I'm so grateful to have you in this space with me and share a space with someone so generous and authentic and vulnerable as you are. So I know you through personal development work. That's how we met. So I've known this version of you that's like really focused on improvement and being the best version of yourself, being an incredible father, and being this person who holds so many different like identities that blend so amazingly into a human of like being this like strong person that there's the part that's like, we don't want to mess with Jonny, right? Like he's got it. He's got the space covered, but then also like, wow, you have such a warm and tender and loving and kind and generous soul and heart, and holding all of that in a person. And I just absolutely love that about you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Hearing that is rad. Hearing someone describe myself, and using those words and using that way is just like, that is who I am. Holy shit, man, what have I done? It's pretty cool. It's the personal development thing started in 2008. And from that day on, I've realized that I'm going to attract what I really want in life. And what does that look like? When you're pissed off at the world, when you hate things, guess what? You're gonna attract hate. You're gonna attract things that you don't want. And like someone told me once, when we worry about stuff, when I worry about stuff, that's attracting what you don't want. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough one. How hard is it to not worry about something, especially being a dad? Right. You know, it's like, if I worry about this, if I worry about that, I'm just putting, momentum into that. Mm-hmm. And then just do my best to turn it around in my head and say, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. Everything is just fine. It's not going to be fine. It is fine. Mm-hmm. So, listening to that is super cool because, I've been told the opposite in life. Mm-hmm. And now hearing that, it's just like, I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it also speaks to the different phases that you've been in life mm-hmm. as well and gone through, which I'm really excited to dig into here. Yeah. So before we dig into that though, if someone was to just bump into you and you're like, oh, hey, I'm Jonny. This is me in, a 30-second thing. How would you introduce yourself?
Hey, nice to meet you. My name's Jonny Tafoya. I do art. I do, I wouldn't stumble this much because I wouldn't be on camera. But I would say definitely this is what I do. I like to make art. I like to tattoo. I've been doing it almost 25 years. And here's a card. If you're interested in anything or, something comes across your mind that you would like to work on, I'm here for you. And if you would like just like my insight on something, I'm here for that too. Just to let people know it's not all about the money. It's about, this is what I like to do. This is what I thrive on. So give me a shot, see what you think. And usually when people talk to me for a few seconds, they can figure out that I hear all the time, I wasn't expecting you to sound like that. I wasn't expecting you to be this person. I was expecting you to be like this mean person. And it's like, yeah, no, not at all. So it's the prejudice, the prejudge people move into immediately. He's tall, he's big, he's tattooed. I'm not really that big anymore. They just, and they think I'm an intimidating person. And then when they actually hear me speak, they're like, oh, you're just a normal person and you're a sweet person. And mm-hmm. That's who I put myself out as because that's who I am. So,
which is the exact purpose of being here, mm-hmm. is to invite people to look past that when they interact with a person and to not see you as a judgment that society has generated based on what someone looks like when they have tattoos and piercings and have a certain stature or a certain style, mm-hmm. to release that and not put that on you to say, oh, I didn't expect you to actually be a good person. Like, well, that sucks. Like, honestly.
It's almost comedic when I hear that, though. It's like, oh, what were you expecting? But people release and they relax when they meet that person. They're like, I came in here for, to look at some art or get a tattoo, and oh, you were so much different than I thought you were going to be. And this is so nice. And it's like, oh, shoot, I'm going to bring my mom here. I'm going to bring, when my kids are old enough, I'm going to bring them to you because you're a comfortable person to be around and you understand. And also I stick to what I feel. If somebody says, I want to do something like this, what do you think? I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think this would be a better idea. And if, there's people out there that can nail that, if you want that, that's not me. There's so many people out there that do so many different kinds of art that, people ask, who does all your work? Everybody. Why would I judge someone to go to someone else when I've gone to so many people? So it's like, I'm just like wide open with it. It's, where were we going with that?
Well, it speaks to how inviting you are as a person.
Yeah.
So you've had quite a colorful life, full of different phases and periods and versions of you. And I think as we all live a life, there are different versions of us that show up along the way. So wherever you would like to start with sharing your story of your different phases, let's dig in.
It was strange. Yeah. I had the quote unquote perfect family when I was little. And that's what I saw as the way it's supposed to be. I had a dad that was never home, always at work, drank, and was just a not present person, and did my best to that, when we're a kid, we see that's what it is. That's what this is supposed to look like. And from there, I watched him, be abusive with my mother, and in many ways, like cheating on her, drinking, not coming home, things like that. And that was the father figure. Then I got older. My brother and I were messing around with fireworks 3 days after the 4th of July, which is tomorrow, 1988, I believe, and we burned our house down. My dad came home, got his stuff, put it in the back of his car, and left. He didn't say, are you guys okay? Do you guys need a place to stay? Do you guys need money? Him and my mom were already on the outs. So that was another thing. I watched him drive away. I watched him leave. And I watched him go with another woman, and not sure how far that went, whatever, because I didn't see him for quite a few years after that.
And how old were you when that happened?
5th grade.
Wow.
So whatever that is, 11 years
you were
old or
young.
so. Yeah. And now I've got a daughter she's in 4th grade at 10. So I'd say I was 11 years old. I watched that happen. He moved back to, Vegas at the time. We lived outside of Vegas, and he moved back and worked at the Dunes Hotel, if you remember that one. And he did his life, and he went and did what he thought was right, which is crazy because now I look at it like he did the best he knew how. That was it. I don't know what happened to him, man. I have no idea what led him to make those decisions. So I don't judge him for it. I love him for it because I am a dad now that, I'm a superstar. I'm there for them. I'm always there for them. They'll never see me leave. They'll never see me drive away. They'll never see me exit the picture and be like, I'm out of here. See you later. They'll never see that.
So at that moment, so I feel like this is one bucket of a chapter.
Yeah.
Is you were so young and so impressionable. And I feel like that's such a critical time that we as people develop ideas and beliefs about who we are, what life is like, what family dynamics are like. Like, how do you feel like that impacted what you believe about yourself or what families look like? What came out of that?
So what's weird is like you hear a lot of stories of kids that are like, this was my fault. My parents left because it was my fault. I never felt like that. I never felt like it was my fault. I saw it happening. I saw it unraveling. I saw, like I said, I saw my dad, abused my mother, and I knew she was unhappy. I heard her crying. I heard all kinds of stuff. And so it was just like, I saw that happen, and I knew what was going to happen next, because it was like, yeah. And I think she even said, your dad and I are getting divorced. And I was like, as in 5th grade, you got to do what's good for you. That's what I said to her. So it was almost like I had like this old soul talking out of me, and a 5th grader saying that to their mom, like, did I do it? Was it my fault? And what did I do? What can I do different? I've heard that, from other kids or on movies, whatever. And I never had that. I just figured like, that's not going to affect me. And I was actually happy that it was me, my 2 brothers, and my mom. And then, she stepped it up. She went back to working and not being a stay-at-home. Well, let me rephrase that. Working and stay-at-home mom is the same thing. One has a paycheck, one doesn't. So, she went back to being a waitress, 3 boys. She stepped it up. My grandparents stepped in. They helped. They gave us a place to stay. My uncle stepped in, gave us a place to stay. And that was kind of when I feel like my grandfather took the place of father figure. It was kind of like I looked up to how he did things, which was, old mechanic, sweet dude, did everything in his power to raise a family. And that was his life. From there, I would say went into, junior high, and I was real impressionable. I was a follower. I did what I thought was cool. I wanted to be accepted. I was the class clown. I did whatever it took, bad grades, whatever, to be noticed. And now I look back at that, like maybe that was the impact it had on me, you know? And it's hard to tell because it didn't not happen, so I can't see what the other side of that was. Right. But yeah, I was always like the class clown, the one that wanted attention, the one that everybody thought was cool. I, traveled amongst the tribes. I got along with everybody. And from there, then life changed again. I went and started getting in trouble, hanging out with the ones that wanted to go mess up stuff, vandalize, all that. And then then my freshman year in high school came along, and then another impact. My oldest brother decided to go out driving after he'd been drinking all day and fighting with his girlfriend, and never came home. So that was another boom. What am I going to make of this? At that point, I went to, I don't give a fuck if I graduate, if I get kicked out, if I get expelled, if I get arrested. I don't care anymore. What do you got to take from me at this point? And luckily, when I turned 18, I did get arrested, and that flipped immediately. It's like when people say, I don't give a fuck about this, you do, because when you get snagged, some people still might have that mentality of, I don't care, send me to jail. There's still that feeling with my body that I was just like, yeah, this is not what I want. I don't want this at all. Luckily, I was still in high school, and I had a cool judge that said, you got 3 things against you right now, and I will give you 1 year each of those. But since I see you're in high school, if you graduate, I'll drop all 3 of those. And that was the best thing that could have happened to me. I decided I don't want to be in jail. I don't want to start my life like this. I want to be different. I want to work hard for what I got. And I always had that inner good person. I was never, even when I did bad things, I had a huge guilt. I felt bad that I did this to somebody, or I felt bad that I did this to someone's, personal belongings, or, whatever it was. I always had that feeling of, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And I feel like that was my grandfather, because he worked super hard for what he had, and he was just a peaceful, nice person. And I didn't want him to, think anything of me but that I was a great grandson. So, from there, I flipped it. I graduated high school. I had good grades for the first time since 4th grade. And I was hanging out with the friends that had ambition and had they wanted to go to college. They had something that they wanted to do. And I never had friends like that. My friends were just, living by the moment. A lot of them that I know of are still the way they were then. They're, they're on drugs. They have lost everything. They're, doing the same shit over and over. And the cycle never stopped. They never saw it. And I hope they do. While they're still on this planet, I hope they do see it. And one of them, one of my good friends, he actually got me into the personal development, and he totally forgot about it and flipped it. And he's not doing well. As far as I know, he's not doing well at all. After I lost my brother, I went to, messing around, doing this, drugs, drinking, all that stuff. You'd think somebody would learn a lesson after losing someone in a DUI accident to not drink, but I did the opposite.
And let's dig into some of these pieces that you'd already shared a bit of, because I'm hearing a theme, and it feels really powerful. Is even you're in, 5th grade and your whole world is turned upside down. You already weren't exactly in a healthy situation, healthy environment. You grew up so fast to be able to have that level of empathy. And then what I was hearing is you wanted to feel accepted. You wanted to feel loved. You didn't want to feel abandoned. And does that feel right? Like throughout that entire period, even when you're saying like, I don't care, I'm going to mess this thing up. Like there's this part of wanting attention because of like, oh, okay, but you see me, I'm still here. Like when that's happening, does that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you reverse it back to what does it feel like to have a dad that doesn't seem to care? And, it's like, I know he loved me because I think that's just in us. But loving and liking is two different things. And I just don't feel, and he didn't love himself enough to, to be like, to this day, I'd like, he's not around anymore. I'd like to have a talk with him about what happened to you when you were a kid. Is there something you'd like to tell me? Because the older I get, the more I realize that things, impact the way we are because something happened. Tragic. It doesn't always necessarily need to be tragedy, but 90% of the time it is. And I'd like to know what happened. It's something that I will never know, and that's okay. I don't have to. That's just the way I am. I like to know, where did this come from? What happened? Because we might be able to work on this. But yeah, that was definitely, I would say, the pinpoint of look at me, I'm here, pay attention.
And I find it fascinating that you said, I did all of these things that I'm not proud of. I was getting into trouble, got into trouble with the law, but there was still a part of you that was like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And to finally pull yourself out of it and feel like you could be someone that your grandfather would be proud of was a big moment for you. So I would love to understand what that duality was like for you.
Okay. Let me add my brother into that too. Of course my mom, but she didn't know about this. I was 18, so I didn't tell her any of it until I was in my 30s. Because what mom wants to hear that? Oh yeah, Mom, I went to jail this year. Oh yeah, it was great. My brother, who I look up to very much, he's a father figure as well to me, because we became best friends. We were already, growing up as super close. We were the two younger ones, and then Jason was the oldest. When we lost him, we became best friends. Like to this day, we call each other on the phone daily, just to hear each other's voice. That's, that's the way we are. And I remember calling him because I had one phone call, and I felt like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Like I did this. I'm so sorry I did this to you. And he was just like, oh, I can't bail you out. I don't have money. So we're going to have to figure this out. And, when he picked me up, and luckily the school got me out because I was still in school, I felt so disappointed in myself. Like, God, man, like I live with you. I'm doing my best. I got a job, this and that. And then I go and do something stupid like this. And, a lot of it was because I wanted to be noticed. I wanted to make new friends. And I had moved too. This wasn't in Vegas. This was in Washington State. And he went to college up there, so I moved up with him, and I was living with him when that happened. That's how my mom did not find out. And that was that feeling of disappointment in myself, which it wasn't fixed then, because I wanted to do different. I wanted to do better. But many years went by where I still battled that kid that wanted to fucking rage and burn the world down. I still battled him. And it was like, to this day, he still comes up, and now I know when he comes up that he's just a scared kid, and he's in there still. But now, there's a full-grown man that can grab him and say, I got you, bro. We're good. We're good. We're okay.
That's so cool.
And that's finding the duality of the man and the boy right there. That was crazy because I still had that mentality of a 5th grade kid that was pissed off, that started to get upset, and then spiraled. And that was my decision making. That was my iOS, man. That was that was the way I operated when things came up, was to get mad, to hit things, to throw things, to yell at things, to, get out of my life, get away from me, then let me go for a walk, let me run away, let me get out of the car and walk off, that, just angry at everything. And that was what I used for a long time.
And was that modeled for you? Where do you think that kind of coping mechanism came from?
I'm not sure where that one came from. I just, I even remember my brother's, when we got the call that he passed away, that he got killed in a car wreck, all these people started coming to my house, and I'll never forget it, because all these people were coming up to me and saying, I'm so sorry. I saw my grandparents crying, my mom crying, my brother crying. Everyone he worked with, his friends, people bringing food, flowers, all this stuff just started showing up, and it started looking like, like a surreal moment. Like, this actually it didn't happen yet. This hasn't even happened yet. How are all these things showing up and all these people? So sorry. And what was my coping mechanism? I walked out the door and I walked away. And I walked for probably a few miles. Wow. Back then there was no cell phones. All people with the brick had one, but family didn't know where I went. Everyone was terrified. Where'd he go? And then I came back. My friend Damien actually came with me, and I was like, come on, man, let's go. He was my neighbor, and we were like best friends growing up. And I was like, let's just go for a walk. Let's go. And he was the same way, because he was dealing with things in his family, and that was what we did. We snuck out at night. We'd vandalize. We'd do whatever made us what we thought felt better. And that was definitely, I would say, the beginning of walking away from everything. I'm hearing like, I don't want this to be real. This can't be real. Like the denial part of the grieving process, and the other very human experience of being like, if I put this into a box and put it over here, it's not real, right? I'm not looking at it, so it's not real, is kind of what I'm picturing. That like, if I walk away from it and I'm not in this situation. What's crazy is there's like a tangible evidence of what you just said. I had a box with everything I could remember about my brother in it. Everything. Like, holy shit. Like back in the day, you'd go to Taco Bell and you could get an ashtray, and he smoked Camel Lights. And there was an ashtray that he got, and I kept it. There was movie tickets that I kept. There was like his cologne bottle that I kept. When he was in jail, he wrote me letters, and I kept all those. I still have those. But there was a moment where I didn't want to look at any of that stuff ever again, and I threw it all away. I just threw it away. I kept the couple things that I wanted. There was a t-shirt he gave me. There was his cologne bottle, and the letters he wrote me. And then that was it. And like a little photo album of pictures he took. He always had a camera on him, and he always took pictures. And that was it. Everything else I threw away. And I would say that's it right there. It's like, I don't want to see this. I don't want it. That's not going to bring him back. Throw it away. And that began like a very big, what would you call that? Like the opposite of being a hoarder. I do that same thing. I'll throw things away, and then years later, like, damn it, why did I throw that away? I kind of wish I still threw away my yearbook, because I was not happy with that person. I was not happy with the pictures of me in that book. Like there was a what is it, the senior book that you have that you put together. Every picture in there, my eyes were blood red, and I was high as a kite, and my face looked pale, and I just didn't look happy. I looked so upset in every picture, and that book went into the trash because I didn't want to see it ever again. And there were things in there I wish I still had, but too late, Well, and it makes me think about like now continuing this story that I remember you telling me at one point, like, I'm not proud of that person. Like I've grown. So part of me feels like there's that little flavor. Like there's the one part of, if I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. And then there's the other part of like, I've grown, I've changed, I've evolved. I don't want to even see me as this anymore. Like, does that feel It does, yeah. There's things I learned, of course. We learn off of everything. So there's things that I did learn off of to be a little more street smart than book smart, and some of that comes in very handy. I noticed that for many years I skimmed by, and I'll get back to that because somebody in a podcast that I listened to said the same thing, and it made sense to me when I heard someone else say it, that I lived every day like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? No plan, no savings, no nothing. Let's just do it. And I feel like that's what I learned. Like, you got nothing to lose here, man. You're not dead. You're not in jail. Let's just live. Let's just do it. But yeah, that's definitely, that's crazy that I do think about that I don't want to be that person. I'm disappointed in that person. I'm not really disappointed in him anymore. I'm just like, you were given these cards and this is what you did with it. Some of it was a good decision. Most of it was bad. And it's okay because you got past it and you're alive and you're good and you're taking better care of yourself now than you ever have because you love that person now. You didn't before. Some of the work we've done together, a thing that I've asked people that have worked for me, when I can tell they're not in a good spot, I'll ask them straight up, when's the last time you looked at your eyes in the mirror and said, I love you? And they're like, never. Most of the time people are like, fuck that. I'm never going to say that. I'm like, that says a lot, man. When you can't love that person in the mirror, then who else are you going to love? Nobody. You're going to use things. You're going to abuse things. You're going to do what you got to do to get where you're going to go, but not experience people and understand that people are there for you to catch you when you fall.
Yeah. And it makes it hard to connect. That you saying that makes me think of a couple of pieces. Like in dance, sometimes we're instructed to connect with yourself in the mirror and dance and be connected to yourself in that moment. And the first few times doing it, it is so hard and so uncomfortable because as people, we're not often used to being invited to connect with ourselves. And then also in that same dance space, being invited to connect with others. Be like, don't look down as you're dancing. Don't be focused on what the choreography is. Don't be looking up or off into the abyss. Like sometimes when we're going to perform on stage, we're trained, look off into the abyss. So then you're not focused on all the people looking at you. Just like look into the darkness and just do your choreographed thing. But then being invited to like actually look at people and connect with them, connect with yourself as you're dancing. It can be so uncomfortable.
No, I'm sure.
Because we as people aren't used to connecting with others like that. And so I think it also speaks to that. And to look in the mirror and say, I love you. Yeah. Like, what? We aren't told to do that. We aren't invited to be loving towards ourselves like that very often. So I think that's really powerful. That's very cool.
Yeah, tattoo clients, that's probably a very vulnerable spot. It's a very intimate experience. Somebody's trusting you to mark them for life. And a lot of times people tell me things that I don't know if they're telling, their family about. And they're just opening up because they're feeling vulnerable and they're in a spot. It's like, I'm going through pain right now. This hurts. And I'm just going to start talking. And then I'm the kind of person that invites it. It's like telling, I'm here. I'll tell you what happened to me. You tell me what happened to you. And, and it's definitely, I can tell when somebody is shut off and they don't want to do that. And that's okay too. It's like, yeah, I can still be just the tattoo guy. I'm totally capable of flicking the switch and saying, what do you think? Cool, huh? Sweet. Do you feel cooler? Awesome. Have a good day. That's not what they came there for. But a lot of people I'm attracting are the ones that do want that. They do want someone to treat them well. Like I hear it all the time. You are like one of the coolest tattoo artists I've ever met, man. Like you're a real person. You're not trying to be cool. And I always say I'm not cool. I'm a dork, man. I'm still all about Star Wars. I'm still all about, drawing stupid sci-fi things, and I love my little action figures and stuff, and that's me, man. There's no sense in trying to act cool. It's like there's enough cool people on this planet.
And spoiler alert, none of them are probably cool.
No. Yeah, you're so worried about being cool, and you're still stuck in being cool phase. You're still in high school. You're still mentally in high school. Yeah. And it's like, no, just be you. Be the best version of you. Be the biggest dork. Like, you talk about dance. I love to dance. I love to dance at Walmart. I love to dance inside the grocery store. Embarrass the hell out of my kids, you know? And I usually get people smiling. Like, that guy doesn't give a shit who's watching him right now. And then that's why I tell my kids, dance like everyone's watching. Don't do the dance like no one's watching. Dance like everyone's watching.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, and so you said something about this sort of shift in you to be like, no, this is me, and just really embracing who you are and loving who you are, and that transformation from this, I'm seeking acceptance, I want attention, I want all of these things, so I'm going to act out for those things, and now I'm not proud of that, to this evolution of I'm dancing in Walmart and embarrassing my kids, I'm having a great time, like I'm encouraging people to say I love you while looking at themselves in the mirror. Like, what was that shift like for you?
It was natural. It was like, I'm not trying to be somebody. I'm not trying to be a self-righteous guru. Like, it felt right for me to act like that. Like, this is who I really am. I really care about myself. I really care about others. That was the kid that felt ashamed that he destroyed someone's private property. That was the kid that felt guilty that he hurt somebody. And now it's like, there's a reason why you felt that way, because you actually cared about people. And now you can see that you care about people, that you are the person that will pull over and help somebody if they're in trouble. You are the person that will be late to something because someone needs your help. And it's okay, because that's who you are. There's not enough of us out there that have that same attitude. Everybody's capable of it, but what does their attitude show, you know? So, but yeah, I would say that's just it, is I care about me, I care about others, and I care about what I show my kids and my wife, you know. She says all the time, I'm a wonderful person. You're such a wonderful man. And I just, I can't ask for more than that. That's what I wanted. I wanted people to say, you're doing a good job. You're loved. You're a good person. That's what I wanted in life. And I got it, because I believe it.
Wow. Like, I just want to sit with that for a moment, that this entire time, like, that's what you wanted more than anything, was to be like, you're a good man. You're loved. Like, to hear people say, I love who you are. And to finally be in that alignment where, like, oh, that's why I felt bad when I did these things, was because that's not actually who I am. And now that I'm acting in that alignment with who I am, I'm getting this thing that I realized I craved the most, was that love and that acceptance and the heart of others is what I'm hearing. And I think that's why I want to sit with it, is because that's so powerful. And I think that's so beautiful. Like, how does that feel to have that now?
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's beyond the best. It's the dream. You know, no matter what else is crashing around us, I got that. You know, and hearing myself say it, hearing you say it again, it does remind me that that's what I wanted from my father. That's it right there. Boom. What would have been better than that, you know? And I didn't get that. So what's my chess move with that is to create that for my children and my wife. Yeah. You know, let them know, I will never leave you. I will always be there. I will never abuse you. I will never. Shoot, I asked my son, the oldest, about, I'd say a few months back, I said, have you ever seen me drunk? And just wondering if you ever seen that. And he said, no. And I'm like, God, that feels good. That feels so good, because he never will. That's just it. Because between the time he was a kid, little to now, I've actually quit. Because I one day decided, why am I doing this? This is not even rewarding anymore. I get enough off of just being with me. And if there's something coming up that I feel like I need to do that, I'll deal with it. Yeah. I'll face it and see what I can do to fix it. You know, even if that's asking someone for help, even if that's just wanting to talk to somebody. And it's just different. That's like a different version of me as well. It's like, this is it. There's nothing blocking me anymore, you know? So
that's so powerful. And to realize actually that's what I wanted all along. So that's what I'm creating. I have previously kind of joked that we show up in the world in a way that we're trying to heal ourselves. And by trying to heal ourselves, that's how we show up for others. And I've noticed that of myself. And as a parent, I have said, and it was the moment I knew I was ready to have kids with DJ, was when I said, I know that no matter what, you are going to love that child for who they are, no matter who they are, and that you are going to accept them, and they will always know that. And that was me healing what I needed from my father, to say, I love you for who you are, no matter what. I never got that, and I don't think I ever will. And that's what I crave the most for my family. And so to hear you say that as well as a parent, I'm like, wow, I can feel that.
I love you no matter what, something you always want to hear. Have you ever said that to yourself?
I don't think so.
Well,
so I'm going to start doing that.
The second you do that, you got it. You got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's us that needs to say what we wanted to hear.
That we need to heal it for ourselves rather than seeking it for someone else. That is amazing. I love that.
Yep, absolutely. I saw that and I heard that and I was like, you got this. You're going to hear it later on today.
I certainly will. Maybe even as soon as we're done recording, I'll go do it in that mirror right there.
Yeah, no matter what, I love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And, and that'll help us get through anything that life can throw at us, and there's things that are traumatizing, awful, and that can happen and do happen to people every day, and it sucks. It really does. That's part of life. But picking up the oar and putting it back in the water is what we got to do. Or you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You can sit and think about it. We see that too, but me personally, I'm going to keep going. And
don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to continue this conversation in just a moment.
Check it out. Yeah.
I am so grateful that you have chosen to spend your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I know that time is our most invaluable resource, and I am grateful for your support by just listening. If you would like to further support the podcast and my continued work in this space, please go to www.nexusofnarratives.org. That is NEXUSOFNARRATIVES.org for more content, ways to support, and connect with others. The Nexus of Narratives is a project, a passion project of mine in the Nexus Impact. So if you are looking for coaching services to become the type of leader that others want to follow, or help improve the culture and engagement of your teams, your organizations, and build greater community to help reduce lost costs due to turnover and inefficiency, reach out to me. I would love to help support you in your work. And if that is the avenue that you would like to go, you can find me and connect on my website. That is thenexusimpact.com or THENEXUSIMPACT.com. Thank you. Yeah, let's talk about that too. So when I hear, pick up the oar and go back in, I can interpret it as a couple of different things, as like embrace where you are and continue to practice resilience, practice compassion, and keep moving because there's somewhere to go and be aligned with that. But then there's also the interpretation, I think, depending on where someone is, that they're just like, shove it and keep going. Like, what does that mean for you? Pick up the oar, keep going. Like, what is that?
Shove it and keep going. That one too. I've seen the meme of the girl standing on top of the mountain throwing double fingers and fuck the world, I'm going to do this. And that's another way to take it on, personally, I say or too because I've been really getting into paddleboarding lately. So there's a lot going on there, like standing up, being in line with yourself, having balance, and moving forward, you know, and it's just like, it is, you know, interpretation of what I want to do. So, but for what that means for me is, gosh, and I get stuck in my ways too. Those old programs come back, that kid comes back, that stuff comes back. I do notice that the more I practice, the quicker I can pick it up and go, you know, the quicker I can say, you're wasting time right now. You're just being mad at something that you don't need to be mad at. Or call one of your friends that will give you some insights. Call one of your friends that, you know, doesn't jump on the bandwagon, you know, and throw you a bunch of, oh yeah, that's bullshit, bro. Oh yeah, fuck that, fucking bullshit. But find the friend that's like, well, okay, so yeah, maybe that is bullshit, but what are you going to do about it? Where are you at right now? Where are you at today? Where are you at this moment? And what can you do differently to move away from it and learn from it? Those are the people I surround myself with, you know, and that's the family I have created, you know, is for us to hold each other accountable, no matter how hard it might be. Sometimes when I hear my 13-year-old tell my wife, like, well, Mom, why are you doing it this way? And I'm just like, bro, careful. Like, you know, but at the same time, it's like, look at what's happening. Look at this family we're creating of authenticity, being ourselves, holding each other accountable, no matter how hard it may be. Because sometimes it is hard to hear from somebody that you hold the closest, like, you're doing it again. You're doing this again. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm good. I got this. No, but you are. It's like, okay, that's up to me to sit and think about it and say, they wouldn't tell me this unless they cared about me. So what can I do to diffuse this and move on? So.
And I think that's important to like really sit with too, is your analogy of the paddleboard going into this, to say, actually, in order to, you know, go forward, you need to be standing up in alignment, looking forward, holding strong in your space in that moment. Like, I think that really speaks to how you presented the analogy. And then to also take those moments where someone is holding you accountable and to not be like, I don't care, go away. But, oh, I actually invited you to be somebody who's holding me accountable, and to use that to get back up on the board and get in alignment faster. And how you intentionally create that with the people that you surround yourself with the way that you've established your relationships, to nurture that. And in those moments, call for the people who are going to call you out. I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's tough. But the more you do it, the more you exercise that muscle, the more it becomes second nature to, God, I'm wasting time right now. And I feel like the more I do that, the more I live my life that way, to that, you know, caliber, that I see other people wasting their time with holding on to stuff. And I've said to a few friends, family, that that's a waste of time. Like, you're holding something that's not coming back, or you're putting all this energy on something that you cannot change. It's out of your control. You can control who you are and what you do and what your move is going to be, but you cannot control what that TV has got on it. You can't control what's, you know, this and that. Now, do I believe that you can change the energy around you that can give a ripple effect to change things? Absolutely. Some people don't believe it. That's okay though. I do. When people say thoughts and prayers don't work, I believe they do, because you're putting that energy out there that you want something good for somebody, or you want healing for somebody or for yourself. That becomes a ripple effect. And I believe that the universe will answer in kindly with whatever you put out there, you know. So be careful how mad you get at somebody for cutting you off on the road, or you never know, like, no matter how bad that looks, sometimes that person might have just got the news that somebody close to them is in the hospital. That person might have, you know, or they could just be in a hurry and they could be all about themselves. Either way, it's not in your control. So, or my control. The paddleboard, listening to you talk about that also reminds me of something you and I have both done. Standing, being in line with yourself, having support all around you, and not being scared. Stop shaking. Stop shaking and stop shaking, or, you know, fall back, trust the people that are going to catch you, make eye contact with the people that have caught you, and let them know that you love them without saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use those interpretations in so many things, because I remember one in particular that was similar to the paddleboard, of shaking and being scared. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And just telling myself, you are an awesome husband, you're an awesome father, and you're an awesome man, over and over and over, over and over and over. Kept saying it. And I could feel it. The strength of that belief just tightened me up, where I was like, I'm good. I got this. I got all of it.
Yeah.
And I know how to ask for assistance if I don't have it. So, yeah, that's definitely something you could use. I can use as an interpretation for a lot of things of what I do and how I handle it, is going back to that day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And in that moment, it's funny that you bring up that, like, how to tell people around you that you love them without a word, to thank them without a word, and to sit there and accept help from others and really feel that. That was such a huge moment for me. Like, I bawled my eyes out to feel that in my heart. Like, people got me.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it alone. Like, wow.
Yep.
And I remember that moment at least once a week. I think about that.
Yep.
It's so beautiful.
I did that in 2010, and I still can see those eyes. I can still see those people that were there, like 4 in particular, but I can still see those eyes. And I'm just like, man, don't even know what they're doing anymore. You know, they've moved on, and it's been years since I've seen those people. But,
and it's transformative to know that people are there for you.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, like, you've built that in the people around you. And as we continue with your story, I also want to dig into something that you shared with me of when you were talking about your son's favorite holiday.
Yeah.
And sharing that Thanksgiving. Can I
Oh,
prod you
sure.
to share that entire story
Absolutely.
as well?
So let's see here. Like I said, there's always a wrench thrown in our way. You know, father, parents divorce, loss of a brother, in trouble, making a transformation of what I wanted. That would lead later to opening my own tattoo shop. First one I did with a group of friends. We did it as a partnership. And 2 years into that, I realized it wasn't my jam. And I got out and I opened my own business. And I opened my own shop, and I was doing well. Things were moving and grooving. And then my wife and I had already had our son. Then 3 years later, we had our daughter. And a year after she was born, I got the news that something was wrong. I noticed that I was lightheaded every time I stood up, every time that I just felt like I was in a constant lightheaded spell, and I couldn't figure out why. I figured I was drinking too much caffeine, energy drinks, drinking alcohol, who knows what it is, you know, and partying, doing dumb things. And my wife said, you need to go to the hospital, something's up. It won't go away. It's been a couple days now. And then I found out that I had a torn valve in my heart. And so I had to go under for a 8.5-hour procedure to have that fixed. I remember seeing my daughter sitting in her high chair, 1-year-old, my 3-year-old son sitting at the table eating breakfast. And it was just clear. This is not fair. There is no way these kids are going to grow up without a father. No fucking way. And I went into that cardiologist and said, let's do it. Let's get this over with. I got a life to live. And he said, the attitude is the attitude that wins every time. People that say I'm going to die, they die. People that say I got shit to do, let's do it. I got this. And that was a very hard part of my life. That was a huge hard part of my life. And from there, I forgot your question.
You're going through it.
Yeah. Just reliving that moment of immortality. We can be taken away like that feeling. From there, I just decided things are different. I'm going to live my life better. I'm going to behave. I'm going to stop messing around with stupid stuff, and I'm going to take care of myself. And I quit energy drinks, everything. Just stuck to black coffee. That was about it. And I decided to take care of myself more and be there for my family. And when my son was in 3rd grade, he said, I've been told by my teacher that we're going to interview one of our parents, and I choose you. And I said, okay, sounds good. And he said, so you need to be at school so I can interview you. And it was Thanksgiving time. And he said, what was the best Thanksgiving? And he got to see 100% of where I was coming from, all of it. He got to see me break down and say, the best Thanksgiving, I was about, my surgery was November 14th, 2014. So what is that, 14 days later is Thanksgiving, around there. Mm-hmm. So I was healing, still on painkillers, and I was sitting at the table, and I had this plate of food, and I was so excited to eat it. And I ended up eating a quarter of it because I had no appetite yet. I was still like healing. But at that moment, I got to look at that table and see my whole family and realize that I'm back. I'm here. I fucking did it, man. I'm fucking here. And I told him that was the best Thanksgiving ever, because I realized what I was thankful for more than anything in this fucking world, man. I was giving all of you back, and you were giving me back. And yeah, he saw that his dad is an authentic guy that doesn't give a shit who sees him cry. He doesn't give a shit. He does give a shit. He gives many shits. He gives many shits about all of it. And he saw what kind of dad he had. Mm-hmm. And he already knew it, but it was given to him like tenfold. And to this day, he knows that he can ask me, is everything okay, Dad? Are you okay? Because he can tell when something's going on. He can tell that he knows that I'm not going to snap at him, that I'm going to say, not everything's great right now. What's going on? You know, at the age of 13, he's already that caring and that loving and that authentic and, you know, vulnerable kid. And a lot of people are teaching their kids to not be vulnerable, that it's weakness. And I disagree 100% with that. Mm-hmm. It's like, be you. Because when you're you, you will attract you and the people that see you for who you are. Yeah. And if you go through a few casualties with that, that's okay. It's okay for people to be like, wow, I would never do that. I'd never cry in front of people like that. Good for you. Cool. Right on. It's you. Yeah. It's not me. And yeah, it's that right there. Yeah. It's telling that story. You obviously saw the difference in me just talking about it. Yeah. Because that is forever grateful. Mm-hmm. Like,
I mean, I can feel it.
Yeah.
Like so deeply. I'm here, like, and I'm not even trying to hold back tears. It is so wholesome. Like my heart is so full, and I can feel it so deeply that you've had so many moments to shift, and that you've chosen a shift in the direction of who you are now, who has heard. You're an amazing human. You're an amazing dad. You're so loved. And each of these moments have taken you there, and they've been huge moments. And this one especially, that was so transformative for you in how you show up as this loving and generous and open father who says, I want you to see me for me. I want my son to know that his dad, a man, can be strong and tall and stylish and covered in tattoos, and also not ashamed to cry, not ashamed to feel his feelings. And that, I think, is so incredible, that so many, this is my one of my beliefs, is that our boys and our men are not given the space to feel, and it's so damaging to be told to shove feelings in the name of masculinity, to say, don't feel. It's like, no, feel.
Yeah.
You're human.
Yeah.
Feel. It can be masculine to feel too. Like it's not one or the other. It's not an ultimatum. And I think we're robbing our boys of this human experience to be whole by cutting off this one part of us. And I think it's so powerful that you're offering this beautifully complete and full picture for your family to say, I can be all of these things, and so can you. And that's okay.
Yeah. And it's healthy. There's a reason why, mass shootings are at an all-time high. There's a reason why people are destroying each other, because those feelings have been taught. They've been taught to hold it in. Don't show anybody this side of you. That's don't show anybody that you're a wuss, that you're, it's unfortunate to watch, because when I see it happen, I also feel like it's not my place to tell this person what they're doing is wrong or what I feel is wrong, because it's just an argument waiting to happen. So you're going to raise your kid. I mean, if you want my insight on it, I'll tell you 100% what I believe. But I don't feel it's my job to correct people, because there's no one to say that it's right, wrong, good, bad, indifferent. I see, like I said before, what we have in our lives that we have control of. I have control of being myself in front of my kids. That's what I have control of. And they can see that. They can see what kind of person I am. They can see that I can step up and be any quadrant. I can be the leader, the supporter, what are the other ones?
Oh gosh, I can't remember now.
But yeah, they see that I can step off and tell people how I feel, be the leader. That I can also be the follower when I see a leader that's doing a great job. That I can also, be the supporter to help people when, they need help. And I can also party and have a good time and be the promoter and just say, hey, I got a business to run, and I want people to see who I really am, and instead of hiding and waiting for people to show up. But yeah, they do see me daily, and they can tell when things aren't in line with me, because I've been so open to them for their existence. They don't know any different. That's the cool part too, is my kids, almost just like the tattoo industry. When I was a kid, it was taboo. It was bikers. It was, prisoners. That's people that were in trouble. That's who got tattoos. And now my kids from day one don't know it any different as, this is how my dad supports us. This is how we have a roof over our head. This is how we have nice cars. This is our life. And it's not a big deal. It's just tattoos. Yeah. And it's super cool to watch that transformation of, the judged go into just the way it is. It's family. It's when I opened my shop, the one I opened by myself with my wife, not by myself, I had an interview, and I did say that. I said, tattoo shops to me aren't for thugs and bikers anymore. It's for grandmas, mothers, daughters. It's for people to come in and feel welcome and not judged or groped or, assaulted. It's for people to say, wow, this is a really nice place. And I'm going to tell my whole family and friends about this place, because I wanted to see a change in this industry. I wanted to see more openness of all of that. And you still see the old style. You still see it, but I want nothing to do with it. I want people to know that this is the guy that you're going to meet. And the people I work with usually are very similar. It's like getting into a new era of it. Quit trying to be what you're not and be yourself.
Yeah. That's like the theme of this entire discussion is the alignment, be authentic, be yourself, not judging the book by its cover, really leaning into the depth of the human experience, and that wholeness is what will translate out.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm hearing. And I think that's really powerful. Yeah. So This is part 1.
Okay.
So we'll make a quick cut right here
Okay.
before digging in a bit deeper.
Okay.
And so thank you for a fantastic part 1.
Yeah.
A special thank you goes out to Sparta Media Group for producing this podcast ever so fantastically. So thank you to Jesse and his team. And an additional special thank you goes out to my sweet and talented husband, DJ Richardson, for creating the music that is used in this production. Thank you so much, so deeply for spending your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I hope that you found this to be a tremendously valuable use of your time and your capacity, and that this might help you to create greater connection and compassion in the spaces all around you.